Alright, good morning everybody. Running a little late, so let's jump right into it here. Alright, so looking at our plan from yesterday, we want to hold above 81 to be bullish. That's basically holding above all this overlapping value. Holding below 67 is the value high of yesterday. So we do want to look for a retrace back down to 53, possibly down to like 32, those prior lows. So keep an eye on that. If we do hold inside of that 67 to 53, it's probably just rotating. So probably just going back and forth, rotating that overlapping value. Either the overlap of yesterday or the overlap of Wednesday to Tuesday. They're all kind of the same. You're basically just rotating that like 20 to 15 point range. So for now, same trade plan as yesterday where you have excuse me, a slight bullish bias, but you're mostly neutral. You're still looking for rotations for the most part. Same story on NASDAQ. The level we're watching is 635. Holding below that, you're going back into those rotations. Holding above it, you have a slight bullish bias trying to break out of this overlapping value. So right now you could look for today's like value high, maybe the overnight high around like 750 to 800, and then a breakout into like 876. The trade plan has basically been the same for the last like 2 weeks. You have a slight bullish bias because you are obviously slowly pushing that value up, but for the most part, during this like scalping session during the day, you're just rotating back and forth. The breakout traders are not really in control. As we saw yesterday with the tails being retested, right? They keep retesting the outside of the value area, going into the tails, and then it just pulls right back. Give me a second, I forgot to open up my Addis. We're seeing almost the same thing that we saw yesterday, but this is the opposite direction. So the move started a little bit early. It started around like 9 o'clock, and the open is just continuing that move that it was already in. So yes, we have like this explosive move on the open, but it's already been in this trade for probably about 20 points. So this would be a pretty late entry, a late confirmation of this move. Now, the late confirmation could have been the break of VWAP. You are breaking VWAP pretty much right away. But yeah, it is basically just playing out the overnight move. We are hitting that overnight high point of origin right now. Very one-directional on the 5-minute. Every single candle's low is being protected, the highs are being taken out. Bouncing off a bunch of pivots. 5-minute pivot on the low here. This candle created a pivot. This also was a 30-minute pivot on the low down here as well. It also tested an old pivot. There was an old pivot right below it. So you had an old pivot acting as support around like 56, I believe it was. And then you had a new pivot on this bounce right here. So very strong bottom. Definitely showing that momentum shift. We do have high impact data coming out today at 10 o'clock, so be very careful. We'll see how that comes out. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tachi, Ordinary, Jack, AT, Banana, Future. Let me pin the trade plan for you guys. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Leo, Roman, XP, Generous Jose, Pot, Stuart, Marcel. Good morning, Igor, Mauser, Larry. Good morning, Nike, Darius, Nitro. Morris, Sam, Suzanne, August, Estevan, Ram. Appreciate you guys all being here. Good morning, Lumir, Hybrid, Ranger, Greg, Vanquish, Lucio, Powerlift, MJ. This template is in my Discord. It's also in the last video on the Becoming an Apex Trader series. I talk about all my settings there. I don't have a file that's like public for you guys to download. I make changes to it too much to constantly put out a public file. Yeah, if you guys watch my last video on the order flow video, I have all my settings on there. If you're in Discord, just go to the templates channel. Okay, we are still failing that 80 level. That 81, we did not like that level yesterday. You had a very strong failure of that level yesterday. Retesting at pre-market, another failure. And now we have another retest here. Yes, if you're in my Discord, you can go to the settings and template channel. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. My cough is getting worse, but I don't feel bad. My throat and everything's getting better. Speaking of Discord, I've had a lot of, we have a lot of members in Discord that have not sent me their, like, proof that they're a Discord member to my giveaway email for the laptop giveaway. So make sure if you guys are in the Discord, you guys automatically get 10 tickets just for being a Discord member. So if you comment on the YouTube videos, that's 5 tickets right there. And then if you send me your Discord like receipt, that's another 10 tickets. So basically just being a Discord member, you get 15 tickets. So make sure to send those over by the end of today. I'll do a big reminder at the end of the stream, and I'll show you guys like the screenshot from the videos of all the details. Yeah, just make sure to have that sent over by tonight. I'm gonna be pulling those winners probably on Sunday. Yeah, I'm not done sending the confirmations. If you do not have a confirmation email by Saturday, then send me an email and make sure that I got your your message. But 100% you guys should all see confirmations by the end of today. So if you do not see one tomorrow, then let me know. Like I said, I'm not sending the template on Discord. It's just in the Discord. If you are a paid Discord member, just go to my settings and template channel. If you're not a Discord member, then you're just not going to find it. You have to go to the order flow video. Good morning, trader. Good morning, music. Still holding above the 80 MA here. Keep an eye on that. Losing that goes back to VWAP and the 24. You do have a little bit of absorption up here. A lot of buyer delta coming in, but they're not able to push into a higher node. Be very careful at 10 o'clock, like I said. A lot of data coming out. That 81 is still holding us down. Same level as yesterday. It's that same pattern over and over and over again. Breakout traders are just not in control. Keep an eye on 67, possibly 53 if it rotates yesterday. Now, you don't have to wait till 10 a.m., but if you're in a trade going into 10 a.m., you need to be careful. Still seeing that absorption holding those breakout buyers down here. Bunch of pivots in this absorption as well. You had 1 minute pivots and a 5-minute pivot. 5-minute pivot damn near high of day. Also just showing the fact that these breakout buyers are just kind of getting stuck. Want a ledge? Still holding VWAP here. You're still holding the 24. You could be possibly turning into a little bit of a vertical distribution. Need to see how they react to this node here. They are absorbed, but they're not really being squeezed out or anything. Might just be waiting for that 10 o'clock news. A lot of delta being stuck here. It's become the POC node. This is going to be a very weird time for a breakout because they're going to try to break out right before the 10 o'clock data, so be careful here. It could be a trap. Want to Chuck? Oh, I didn't see any major news for the pre-market. I'm not sure. Yeah, we're always on key levels when news comes out, yeah. Want a Chebby? There was a ton of delta coming in on that 85 tick. Like I said, very weird time for a breakout. Be careful here. If that data coming out at 10 o'clock is bearish, these guys are going to get trapped pretty hard. Yeah, I don't do stuff like that. I don't say like we're gonna hit this level with X percentage or whatever. I would just be making that stuff up. Not how I trade. Want to Michael? Yeah, I definitely sound a lot better. I'm almost back to like my normal, but it's just a cough now. Keep an eye on that data coming out. We got about 1 minute left. Yeah, Ram, it probably will, unfortunately. Sadly, it's like getting worse. Like everything else has gotten better, but the cough is getting worse. All right, here we go. 10 o'clock data coming out. Yeah, thankfully it's not hitting me in the silences this time. That's always the worst. Okay, here we go. PCE, as expected, 0.2%. Consumer sentiment, 53.3 or 52. Inflation, 4.1 or 4.5. Personal spending, as expected, 0.3. Income, 0.4 over 0.3. So they did a pretty good job. Expectations are almost exact. Not seeing a big reaction so far. Very important to see how they react to this node right here. If they just break right through it, they might be trapping all these buyers up here. Yeah, unfortunately, I hate tea. Tea would probably help. It's probably one of those things where I haven't tried the right tea, but every tea I've tried, I just think it's disgusting. I know it's a hot take. Five-minute lows still being protected. They are protecting that upper node at 82. Here comes that prior high around 900, possibly possibly 919. We're entering kind of like a dead zone. There's not a ton of value in this like general area here. And then we have like the all-time high value up in this area here. So keep an eye on 900 here. NASDAQ, same thing. Not a ton of value here. Here's our 800 target. Keep an eye on 76. And then in the upper zone around 26,000. If it does continue. Calls tea dirt water, yeah. It's basically what coffee is, too. But coffee, I like coffee. It smelled like gunpowder, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure tea's like the same as coffee, where you just gotta find the one you like. Building up a pretty strong node here at 96. Keep an eye on that. Not really obvious who's controlling it just yet. They're just building it up. I thought coffee was disgusting for the longest time. And then I just found the ones that I liked. Five-minute lows have been protected since the overnight low. Since back here at 850, you're not losing any of these 5-minute lows. Okay, so this node is being controlled by the buyers. They're doing a good job building up delta above that node, so it is now a support node. Very early in this candle. But keep an eye on the 30-minute close, because if this continues to run like this, you're going to have a ton of single prints. I don't mind the volume here. It's not too bad. I would say our opening volume was definitely a little bit low. But they might have been waiting for the data. 138. What was our volume yesterday? $167, so it's a little bit lower than yesterday. It's also just a Friday. Fridays are typically lower volume. They are being absorbed on the high. A lot of delta stuck on that 900 level. That was our first target for the trade plan. Yeah, at this point, they really do not want to let this come down because they have all these buyers right here. They have all these buyers right here. So coming back below like 80 would be pretty rough. Holding the ADMA pretty much the entire time. Very aggressive. As I said earlier, protecting 5-minute lows since the overnight low over an hour ago. Look at these 5-minute lows, the lows of the candles. Pretty much every single candle, except for this little pullback here, which did get wicked. Every single low is being protected. Very difficult to sell against a trend like this, because even if you're targeting a couple of points, if you're targeting anything outside of the 5-minute low, it has told you you're not getting that the entire move up. You always got to look for patterns like that, like the 30-minute one time framing, the 5-minute one time framing. because it puts your targets into perspective where you're like, okay, if I can get my target here, what needs to happen? I would need to break a pattern that has been happening the entire day. I would need something to happen that has not happened the entire day. Like if you're betting on a new 30-minute low, good luck, right? It hasn't happened since 8:30. Now, obviously, things change. The market is never going to stay in the same pattern forever. But it's just a probabilities game, right? You're betting on a new 5-minute low, you were wrong the entire time. The 5-minute chart is getting a little crazy. Let me show you. So we had a 5-minute pivot. This is one of our combo signals where you had the shading as well. That started the move. It stalled a little bit on this pivot here, pulled back, broke. But it is getting a bit extended. The value that it should be at is probably around like 99. You're a bit extended. You're far off that trail. You're far off the ADMA as well. Momentum's kind of topping out. One minute's a bit more stable. Doesn't look too bad on the 1 minute. Here comes the NASDAQ target. And there's the target on ES as well. About halfway through the candle. At this point, we will have single prints going down to 92. We will see if the second half of the candle fixes that problem. Yeah, profit taking would just look like a bunch of bearish delta coming in, but they're not actually doing anything. They're not actually getting what they want. They're not holding any major nodes. They're not breaking any major levels. This is just the type of move you see when we've been sitting in an overlapping value for a week or two and they're finally ready to break out of that value. Like I've been saying, we had that slight bullish bias, but you wanted to treat it like a rotation as long as it was staying inside a value. That's why this morning it was so important for us to watch that 81 level, because the 81 level was keeping us in that overlap. But then we started absolutely ripping through that 81 level. You could possibly consider that an incomplete auction of yesterday. Not really a perfect one. But yeah, this is just like a week or two worth of built up buyer demand that is finally getting what they want. Here's another node building up, very strong node at 903. All right, I'm going to do a quick reminder now because this is about when my viewership peaks, and then I'll do another reminder at the end of the stream. But this is for the giveaway reminder. Be sure to follow these details, guys. If you do want to get entered in that laptop giveaway, I will be finally doing that giveaway this weekend, most likely on Sunday. So make sure to have all your tickets to me by tonight. And I will also be responding to everybody that sent me their tickets by tonight, just confirming, hey, this is how many tickets you have. Did I miss any? So just follow these details. Make sure you're sending them to the right email. And you should be good to go. Oh yeah, by the way, if you are just now sending your tickets, please put what country you're in, or if you're in the United States, put what state you're in. Don't give me your full address. I don't need that unless you're the actual winner of the laptop. But just put your country or state. Looks like they are trying to repair this 30-minute candle a little bit. Keep an eye on 93. 24 EMA being tested here. 5-minute lows still being protected. They need to extend this tail a little bit. Very top heavy candle, but they keep hanging out below the candle, below the node, I mean, which is not a great sign. Liquidity is good. It's not bad. You're trading at like 50 plus contracts per tick. No, I haven't changed my settings. probably the most sustained sell pressure we've seen so far. Like I said, top heavy candle not showing that tail, not showing that push up. Little dangerous for the buyers. POC on the high, definitely a little dangerous. They're trying to repair this 30-minute candle. Keep an eye on the 93 level. You'll have single prints if you are not trading below like 94 in the next minute. You do have a couple single prints on that close going down to 93. Okay, now they're trying to extend to this upper tail here. Next level is around 19. Just keep an eye on those 5-minute lows. You are still protecting every single 5-minute low from that overnight low. It's actually insane that that's still going. It's almost 2 hours. We haven't seen a strong break of a 5-minute low. You're definitely seeing the buy pressure is kind of slowing down here. They're not able to push that high as easily as they were the last few. It seems like the momentum part of the trend is coming to an end, and it's coming into more of like the vertical distribution stage. You have a very small sweep on the highs that actually able to stay below these 5-minute lows. Turning more into a capital B here, where you have a big upper node, big lower node, and then single prints in between. We have to see who controls the middle. They come back to retest the single prints, possibly VWAP. We'll see if the buyers like immediately push it back. You have 2 more single prints. Needs like 1 more push down here. Not seeing a ton of momentum below the 5-minute lows, but they're definitely starting to break them. Look at where it bounced, by the way. Filled in the single print almost to the tick, and then bounced immediately. Buy pressure coming back. This could have just been a single print fill-in. We'll see if they can hold above this like 902, 903 area. This would be where the rollover top comes in if the bears are in control. They're not going to allow this to put in a higher high. So if you can build value on the buy side, where that lower high would be, then obviously they're just going right back into that same trend. The yellow is the speed of the tape. So it's just highlighting how fast the orders are coming in. Lower high is being protected. They have not lost a 30-minute low, so they are starting to lose 5-minute lows. Can they lose a 30-minute low? No, I don't see the bulldog pattern, and even if there was the pattern here, you don't look for bulldogs on highs like this. So this is the bearish delta that has been being held up the entire time and waiting. And now they're finally getting what they want. 5-minute lows starting to be lost. You're actually putting in lower highs and lower lows. Here is VWAP. Now we keep an eye on the 30-minute lows. Losing the 30-minute lows, we go back into value. Possibly back into 81, possibly back to 67. We'll see how bad it gets. 900 level becoming that POC level, so pretty much spot on there on that prior high. So far, buyers are protecting VWAP. Starting to lose VWAP. Keep an eye on that 30-minute low. Coming up around that 87 level. Now we're watching the 5-minute highs, right? The lows were being protected the entire time. Are they going to do the same for the 5-minute highs? You can see the reaction to breaking that 30-minute low for the first time. A lot of delta coming in here. Keep it on that 81 level, same level we were watching on the open. Staying below that gets pretty weak. Maybe back down to 67. This is all from that lower high, too, that rollover top. You did not hold above that high. I wouldn't say they're trapped just yet, but they are kind of being absorbed because they're not getting any profit. Yeah, you could say the sellers are being a little absorbed at like 85, 86. They're just not really getting what they want. It looks like they eventually will. They're still coming in a little bit. 5-minute highs are still being protected. They're not really being threatened just yet. 5-minute high is still being protected here. Still a lot of bearish delta coming in at 85. Not able to push down just yet. Looks like there's a lot of limit buyers in this like 80 to 85. That is the 81 level that we talked about earlier. You can tell because you just get all this bearish delta, but it's not able to hold below it. Finally able to break down from this 81 level. possibly going back into that value rotation that we were stuck in yesterday. Keep an eye on 67. NASDAQ stopping at that 876 target. That was our trade plan target, damn near to the point. Stopped a little bit early. I'll keep an eye on yesterday's value if it does continue. Finishing the rotation right now. Back to that 78. Possibly back to that 35, 635, maybe 560. Looks like there's a wall here at 80. That same level that we were keeping an eye on. Looks like a lot of selling right now. Gold is selling, Bitcoin is selling. Yeah, that's fairly common in a capital B that the node is shifting, like the POC is going from the high node to the bottom node, and vice versa. Yeah, what's your point, Jay? Oh, you mean like it's a late reaction to like the news or the data? You could tie it into you could tie it into like trying to repair the single prints as well. It's almost the opposite of what we had yesterday. Yesterday we had the open on the high of day for a while and it was kind of chopping around. Now we have the open on the low of day and then it chopped around. they took out that buy wall. The buy wall was trading at 80, trading a bit of delta below that now. Like we said earlier, it was around like 10:45, and I was talking about looking for that shift because you had the 5-minute lows being protected. Were they going to protect the 5-minute highs in the same way? And they have. We have not reclaimed a 5-minute high pretty much the entire time. So keep an eye on the highs of these candles. That might signal a bit of buy pressure if they do start to break. Looks like that wall got taken out, but it is still absorbing all that sell pressure down there. Turning more into a 30-minute sweep. Keep an eye on VWAP here. Retest it at 90. Good morning, AV. On the website, it will probably end this weekend, so sometime Saturday or Sunday. Whenever I have time to like update the website. Looks like sellers are protecting VWAP here. They are really fighting over this 81 level. Next level on NASDAQ is the value high of yesterday, so back to 635 if it does break this value low here. ES would be 67, and then you possibly can finish that incomplete auction back down to 53. That was the strongest break of the overlapping value that we've seen so far. But obviously, in hindsight, we are still in that same pattern where the breakout traders are just not in control and they're constantly being pulled back to that overlapping value. Here's that full rotation being finished into the value low. 5-minute highs still being protected. It is literally doing the exact same move that it did on the way up, just on the way down. In nearly the same amount of time. It's a little bit faster on the way down. Alright guys, I'm going to do one final reminder for the giveaway. I'm going to post one last reminder in Discord later today. So if you guys are not entered for the laptop giveaway by the end of today, then you're not in it, right? I'm going to be pulling the laptop winner and a bunch of other winners as well. I'm going to be pulling Discord winners and Apex account giveaways as well. We're going to be doing all that most likely tomorrow or Sunday. So by the end of today, you should have a confirmation email from me saying, hey, this is how many tickets you have. And then I'll just ask you to confirm your country or your state if you're in the US. And then, yeah, that's all I got. So for the giveaway, just one last reminder. It's up to 20 tickets, so one per Apex account. So if you use code BREW, just send me all the receipts. The only account, excuse me, that does not count is the 25K. Discord members, you guys received 10 tickets. And then there were 5 videos on the Becoming an Apex Trader series. There were 10 if you count the Q&As, but I'm just counting the main ones. If you comment on each of those videos, that's a ticket per video, so up to 5 there. So just be sure to take screenshots of your comments, take screenshots of your Apex receipts, take screenshots, or just send me the receipt that you had from the Discord. Just put them all into one email if you can. If you have to do multiple emails, that's fine. And then just send them to my giveaway email, giveaway.dejavutrading@gmail.com. And then once I pull the winner, I will have you confirm like your actual address, like where you want me to send the laptop. And then for the Apex winners, you guys are going to get a promo code. It's going to be a free account for 30 days. And then for Discord winners, I'll probably do some monthly winners and maybe like 1 or 2 quarterly winners as well. But all right, guys, like I said, last reminder, have all that done by the end of today, and I will get all that pulled on this weekend. But all right, guys, I appreciate you being here. I'll put one last reminder in Discord for you guys. If you guys enjoyed the content, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. If you guys want to support the channel and get entered in the giveaway, you can use code BREW. Apex, excuse me, is doing a 60% off. Sorry, guys, I'm still a little sick. Apex is doing a 60% off right now. And they have like their lowest activation fee that I think they've ever had. So be sure to check that out. And for the Discord discount, the 40% off from Black Friday, that will be ending either today, tomorrow, sometime on Sunday. It's basically ending this weekend. Whenever I have time to fix the website. So that giveaway, or sorry, that discount, the 40% off, will be done in the next day or two. But all right, guys, that's all I got. I'll see you in Discord. If you're not there, enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace, everybody.